Good morning, Calloway County. I'm John Masters, Jonathan D. Masters, candidate for Lieutenant Governor. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. It's 11:13 p.m., 4:26. You'll probably see this in the morning. I wanted to talk about, Calloway County. So, a contractor for the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet plans to restrict traffic to one lane on the US 68 Kentucky 80 Egner's Ferry Bridge at Aurora on Monday, April 27, 2015. That's today, or it will be today when you see this. So, April 27th, 2015, on Monday, they're going to restrict the traffic to one lane on US 68 Kentucky 80 Egner's Ferry Bridge at Aurora. So, you need to know that it'll be about 9 a.m. CDT Monday to facilitate the pouring of concrete for construction of Pier 1 on the new bridge. This lane restriction for Monday is expected to be in place until about 3 or 4 p.m., so it's just for one day. I doubt this will actually get you in time, or that it'll be relevant, but it's something that's happening. Concrete trucks are required to park on one lane of the old bridge to deliver concrete to the work site for the new structure. Motorists should be alert for one-lane traffic with alternating flow controlled by flaggers. Delays to traffic in this work zone have been fairly minor, generally less than 5 minutes. Due to the number of trucks delivering materials to the construction site for the new bridge, motorists should continue to use caution in this busy work zone at all times. Motorists should be alert for oversized loads of steel heading to this construction site along US 641 and Kentucky 80 through Marshall and Calloway counties, and from I-24 along Kentucky 453 and the trace through the land between the lakes. So, if you're one of the few people in Calloway County that catch this in the morning, from 9 a.m. to about 4 p.m. tomorrow morning, one of your roads is going to have one lane on it, which you probably would have found out. There's flaggers, so it probably wouldn't have been a big issue anyways. But now you know, now you'd be like, wow, that John Masters, he knows what he's talking about, right? He read that news so good. I think he could be a good lieutenant governor. Calloway County, I am enthralled with Calloway County. Calloway County, a lot of distinctions here. They're the home of Murray State University, so they got a big university there. It's the southernmost point in Kentucky. So Calloway County is on the bottom, and it just happens to get to be the southern. That's a notable distinction. Kenny Imes, he's running for treasurer as I want to say a Democrat, but he doesn't feel like a Democrat. Maybe it's a Republican. I don't know. Kenny Imes, he's from Calloway County. Calloway County, this article here says it ranks first in quality of life. So Calloway County, I think it has a lot of people. I don't know. I have to get back to you on that. I think it has 40,000 because it's got Murray, Kentucky. It's like the 22nd largest, biggest city in Kentucky. I don't know. But it almost feels like to me like a little secret safe haven. It's like a little Garden of Eden that nobody has discovered yet. And so that's good for people in Calloway County if they know about this. And the reason why actually I really dwelled into this, somebody had said that New Concord was trashy, and I wanted to see if that was true or not, because that's where the southernmost point in Calloway County. It's like 10 miles south of New Concord on the Kentucky Lake. So I would say New Concord is probably the southernmost city, and then the point on the Kentucky Lake, you'd actually have to go out to the lake to get to the southernmost, tip of Kentucky. So that's fun, little tidbits. Calloway ranks first in quality of life. This article just came out last month, March 27, 2015, the Murray Ledger, written by John Wright. So the latest county health rankings were released Wednesday and showed that Calloway County still sits in the upper echelon of Kentucky. So their quality of life is good. That's higher life expectancy, longevity. There's recreation and outdoor events. So there's a culture of being healthy and taking care of oneself. In Calloway County, it ranked 7th overall in the Commonwealth, which is up 2 spots from last year's ranking, compiled each year by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and the University of Wisconsin Population Health Institute. Particularly pleasing locally, though, was the #1 ranking Calloway earned for quality of life. So the overall quality of life, goes to Calloway County. We know Calloway County is a great place. Of course, we feel like it's the best, and it makes us feel really good to be #1, said Linda Cavett, And but then she started pissing on the rankings. Oh, I'm never satisfied though, even being number one. I'm not satisfied. I know everybody in this community isn't satisfied. We have a way to go in other areas. So that's good. I mean, you could always get better. I don't hate kidding. Number one quality in life. So I mean, that's a really good thing. Cavett said being at the top in the Commonwealth is tempered a bit by the fact that Kentucky ranks very low in such areas nationally. She said a more accurate assessment of how Callaway stands can be found when in a category called U.S. Top Performers. 4 categories comprise quality of life, poor or fair health, poor physical health days, poor mental health days, and low birth weight. Callaway's rankings showed 17% of its population in poor or fair health, averaged 3.3 poor physical health days, 3.1 poor mental health days, and 6.8% of its babies having low birth weight. All these were slightly off the top national ranks. Keena Miller, Director of the Health and Wellness for Murray Callaway County Hospital, agrees with a caveat that there is still work to do. She also likes the community's chance of improving. This community does a great job coordinating together in various programs from the cradle to the grave that goes literally from birth to the end of life. So anyways, Callaway County, it's like a little treasure, right? A little pocket treasure that not too many people know. So if you're thinking of a place to live, go to Callaway County. They got a university there. They're up and coming. Good quality of life. Their election workers are receiving a $25 raise from fiscal court. Right, so that's great news. Just happened 3 days ago. Instead of just getting $100, they're getting $125. So you know that they're going to be making sure that everything's on the up and up. They're getting $125 for doing that. Right, just sitting around for 8 hours. That's a pretty good job there. So you should make sure that the elections are fair, free and fair. Supposed to be 1 Democrat, 1 Republican, precinct captains in each of the, election booths. Extrication issue takes fiscal court spotlight. One issue accounted for half the time spent an unusually long hour and a half Callaway County Fiscal Court meeting Tuesday. This would be the proposed move by the City of Murray to end a nearly 40-year agreement concerning the City Fire Department responded to vehicle accidents requiring extrication of victims. The county has been paying at least $10,000 or 1,000. It says 10,00. Say 10,000. Callaway County Judge Executive Larry Elkins once again expresses displeasure at the idea. Elkins also presented a letter Tuesday stating that the agreement actually is between the city and the Murray Callaway County Emergency Medical Service. Also states that the agreement includes the medical response calls within the city with the emergency medical service having authority over patient care. As for the extrication issue, Elkins did not change his opinion. It is my hope that the city would reconsider, he said, relating to a meeting here with more than 60 Callaway County Fire Rescue personnel Monday night. After meeting with those folks, I'm 100% convinced that CCFR can assume that duty if it comes to that. The fact is those CCFRs shouldn't be asked to do that. I have no idea what's going on. Some weird fucking politics is happening about, the fire department, fiscal court. So, normal everyday thing. There's a triumvirate, the sheriff, the county attorney, and the triumvirate. That's the 3 kings. So the 3 kings of Callaway County would be the sheriff, the county judge, and the county attorney. Probably the county attorney having the most authority out of the entire county. A man is accused of stealing a box trailer and then selling its contents. This is Cadiz, Kentucky. So the investigation is conducted by the Callaway County Sheriff's Office in conjunction with the Trigg County Sheriff's Office and the Henderson Police Department. So somebody stole a box trailer, right? A box, and then trailer. You hitch it on the back of something, you have a bunch of crap in it, and then he supposedly sold stuff. This picture's right here. It's the source is at Callaway County SO, I don't know, Sheriff's Office, I guess. Chad E. Bays. I don't see where it says, Sam Stager was contacted by the other agencies, found the trailer in Callaway County. Bays brought the stolen trailer to Callaway County and sold it. They're accused of, right, that's what they're saying. We don't know if he actually did it or not. Sheriff Stager is asking for anyone having bought property from Bays to contact the Sheriff's Office at 270-753-3151. It almost seems like they don't have the evidence. If you bought some of the stolen goods, if you can bring it back, they should, right? They should, but, they'll be mad because they give him money and he might not have the money. They might be able to pay it back, and so what, CCSO reports arrest and stolen property case. The Callaway County Sheriff's Office in conjunction with the Trigg County Sheriff's Office and the Henderson Police Department. Again, the same thing. Okay, so 2 articles covered that, right? That was the Murray Ledger. So a lot of things are going on in Calloway County. One of the biggest things that I really like about Calloway County, there's a bunch of things. So far, I'm just tickled to death with everything I keep on reading, is the name. The name is named after Richard Calloway. And Richard Calloway, Old Dick Calloway. Old Dick Calloway was one of the most important pioneers in Kentucky. Supposedly he was there 1792 when they actually made Kentucky a state. Richard Calloway, he had a long and interesting, sordid life. I don't like that he owned slaves. He was a plantation owner, so he's a bit of an asshole in that regard. And but he wound up getting killed by the Shawnee too. So I don't know if he made war with the Shawnee, but that if he did kill Shawnee, then that's a fitting end. So you know, he was one of the first pioneers. He helped get it established here. So let's just kind of go through some facts of his life. Okay, so he dies in 1780, March 8th or 9th, 1780. Just what is that? 1792. Well, if he died then, he probably couldn't have been at the founding. So that's not true. 1792. It's actually, he died 12 years before it. So maybe I don't know what I read there. So maybe that was one of the first conventions. I don't know. But he was killed on the spot. He was scalped and his head was chopped off and mangled. And then his body was thrown into a ditch naked. And then his 2 Negro slaves were taken as slaves. He was killed by the Shawnee trying to get a flatboat across the Kentucky River. Now that's an untimely demise, but that's exciting. That's crazy. That's you know, the Shawnees killed him. While Dick Calloway is important for the general Kentucky history, I don't know if Dick Calloway was actually ever in Calloway County. He was in you know, he helped establish Boonesboro. That's really, you know, some of the claim to fames that I want to get to with him. He has helped establish Boonesboro with Daniel Boone. And he was there with Jemima Boone and the 2 Calloway daughters who got kidnapped, and then Daniel Boone and Richard Calloway and a couple of men chased after the Native Americans and eventually rescued their daughters, and then they all get married. All the boys that had helped them, you know, get their daughters, they wound up marrying them. It was supposed to be the inspiration for The Last of the Mohicans, James Fenimore Cooper's Last of the Mohicans. So that was old Dick Calloway. That was his daughters who got kidnapped, and that was Dick Calloway who was with Daniel Boone and who had rescued those girls. He also put Daniel Boone on trial for treason after Blackfish had kidnapped him. So you got Daniel Boone with all his salt makers, salt boilers, just, you know, trying to distill some salt. Then all of a sudden, Blackfish gets the drop on him, has him surrounded. Daniel Boone pretends to say that let's just deal with the British or something, or said that he would just, you know, integrate into Blackfish's tribe. And supposedly he just said that to buy some time, and then he escapes, goes back, and then eventually they have a big battle, and then, I don't know, he lives or something, but they said that because he was British and that he had offered Blackfish to take the salt makers as prisoners, that he was actually operating not as an American, but as a, you know, a redcoat. And what's interesting about that, this is, you know, when they first come into Kentucky, in 1774, Daniel Boone was a redcoat, and so was Dick Calloway. Dick Calloway, I mean, is a plantation owner, so he's of aristocracy, so, which isn't a good thing either. Plantation, that really puts a bad taste in my mouth. I liked this whole story until then, so in a way, maybe he deserved the Shawnee, you know, chopping his fucking head off. I mean, he owned fucking slaves. And then they stole his slaves. So, you know, I don't feel bad. It's like, I don't care that the property was taken from him. You know, they owned it himself. If anything, it makes me look down upon the Shawnee. They, you know, carry slaves too. So, that's, he put Boone on trial for treason after Blackfish had kidnapped him and he had said something about being British. But that's, they had fought at the Battle of Point Pleasant under Lord Dunmore in West Virginia fighting the British in 1774. So they all were British at one time, but then, so the American War did, you know, say the Western theater of the American Revolutionary War did have some effects, but mostly was killing Native Americans, not British. The first and last battle of the American Revolution was fought with the Native Americans, with the Shawnee. The Battle of Blue Licks, it was a whole, you know, Simon Girty and a whole bunch of Native Americans, including Cherokee, Shawnee, usual cast of characters, but it was about a dozen different Native Americans were there. But the Battle of Point Pleasant was 1774, and that's some people include that as, and I do too. So that's one of the first battles of the American Revolution, one of the last battles, and they both were killing Native Americans. So when both the first and the last battles are killing Native Americans, maybe that's the reason why they're doing it, just so they could take the damn land. Yorktown is considered the last battle, but the Battle of Blue Licks happens after Yorktown. So what's up with the Battle of Blue Licks, right? That's a good question to ask. Point Pleasant, I want to mention the last thing. The reason why I'm not being callous. Well, let me mention this fact here about him. Dick Calloway had 13 kids. He had 13 kids with his first wife and then 3 kids with his second wife. So he had 16 kids total. So old Dick Calloway has left a long legacy. So I'm sure there's lots of people that descended from Dick Calloway. That doesn't, he was a slave owner, so fuck him on that point. But, he did his thing. He lived a long life, had a bunch of kids. So clearly must have been, of somebody of stature. But that is just something we have to go through. One of my, not my direct descendants, but sort of a branch off of one of my family tree were some slave owners too. And so that's just something we have to deal with. That's not, it's a different time and all, but it was bullshit. Fuck slavery. So that actually almost turns me against him. But the fact that he was killed by Shawnee, then I don't know, it seems to even itself out right at all. He dies, but his legacy gets to live on. So he was able to, he got land and his family lived on. And so he, in the end, wins, even though he had lost on, March 8th, 1780. So he had a bunch of kids, Richard Calloway did. Now, the last thing that I want to mention, the reason why I think it's fitting that he got killed by the Shawnee. If there's any Native Americans that is more intricately woven into Kentucky history, it's the Shawnee. The last 3 villages that we know of, Esquipakitiki, Chenoa, and Wani, are Shawnee villages. They were the most longest running in this, so that's why we knew more about them than in the other ones. So Esquipakitiki, Chenoa, and Wani, the last 3 villages of Kentucky, was Shawnee. I'm just making the case that the Shawnee and Kentucky history are so interwoven. You got Mary Ingalls, Jenny Wiley, both are kidnapped by the Shawnee. So the Shawnee was there in the beginning. Some people might even say, well, it was the Shawnee that brought white people into Kentucky, and that's true. They're the first white people into Kentucky was kidnapped. It was a woman that was kidnapped. I can't remember. It's either Mary Ingalls or Jenny Wiley, one or the other. But those were the Shawnee that was doing that. John Filson of the Filson Society, the first historian, also a founder of Cincinnati, he was murdered by the Shawnees in 1788. So one of the main pioneers was murdered by the Shawnees. William McDaniels of Breckinridge County. McDaniels is a city in Breckinridge County. It's named after William McDaniels. He too was killed by the Shawnee, and his slaves was taken over. So actually, William McDaniels and Dick Calloway's story is almost identical. They're both slave owners, but they're in a frontier. It's not like, I don't know, if they killed people, then fuck them. But if they were just kind of trying to find a new place and, it wasn't their land to begin with, they were the pioneers. I got a mixture. It depends if they're aristocracy. If I feel like they're sort of snooty, uppity, yuppity motherfuckities, I don't give a fuck about uppity yuppity motherfuckities. I don't give a fuck about them. People who think they're better and aristocrats. And so the Daniel Boone Kentuckians, I tolerate a little bit, but the Henry Clay Kentuckians, get the fuck out of here, man. He had a whole field of plants, a whole field of fucking slaves, and then speaking out of both ends of his mouth saying that, he was against slavery, meanwhile owning slaves. He was a walking fucking hypocrite. And he was a good middle step before Abraham Lincoln, and so I'm glad that he inspired Lincoln, but he actually didn't, he had no principles himself. He got us into the War of 1812. He was a war hawk, for a war that failed. We didn't get anything out of it, and then he was against the war, Polk's War, against Mexico to take half the country, so, and that one wound up succeeding. So he was a bad war hawk, choosing the wrong battles, wrong wars. And War of 1812 wound up killing like a shit ton of Kentuckians. Over half of those who had died in the War of 1812 were Kentuckians. So, fuck the Henry Clay aristocratic fucking upper echelon people. They're the land speculators. Think about this. Abraham Lincoln's father had 3 different land spots that he was living and owned and tried to farm and maintain until the land titles made him go to Indiana. Same thing with Daniel Boone. Daniel Boone discovered it. He's got a national forest dedicated in his honor. So he's got, now today he has Kentucky land, but he was punished and he got no land at all from Kentucky. So if the biggest, the two biggest historical figures of Kentucky, Daniel Boone and Abraham Lincoln, weren't able to keep a hold of Kentucky land because of the aristocratic land fucking grabbers, and the first guy here in Breckinridge County, he got a 94,000 acre tract of land. What do you need 94,000 acres for? And plus Patrick Henry, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, they were all well-known land speculators trying to grab as much of that cheap land as possible. And so, that's to each his own, people say, but I think everybody deserves equal opportunity. And so everybody gets an acre, everybody gets a chance, right? Everybody gets the same breaks. You don't need 94,000 acres, and you're probably using slave labor in order to run that. So you're just being a lazy, just whipping people and shit, thinking that you bought people and using them as ox and animals. It's not even a good capitalist enterprise. All you're doing is just beating the shit out of people, making them work, and, while you sit drinking your lemonade and act like you're better than everybody. So that's not genius. It doesn't take a genius to run a slave plantation, and you can't even do it today, so it doesn't even matter. But the point being is that, fuck them. Fuck those, aristocratic plantation owners. Daniel Boone, like the frontiersmen, they had a different code. The frontiersmen did. We lived out in the woods together. We shared the woods. If somebody needed to go get themselves a deer and there's a deer in the woods, go get it. It's not on my land or your land, you go get the deer. It's common land. So there was your land, where your cabin was, and then there was common lands that the squatters and the original frontiers people, the poor man. Kentucky used to be a poor man's country. But in Henry Clay's day, it ceased to become a poor man's country, and it should be a poor man's country. Anybody should be able to come to Kentucky and survive and thrive and do very well here. So there's Daniel Boone gets all, two of his brothers, or one of his brothers, Ned Boone gets murdered. Two of his sons, Israel, James Boone, gets killed by Shawnee, by Cherokee when they're first walking in, to Kentucky, and then at the Battle of Blue Licks. So, that's the Shawnee was there too. Chief Cornstalk was a chief of the Shawnee. He was at Point Pleasant, which Daniel Boone was fighting in 1774. Muluntha was also a Shawnee war chief. Perhaps Tecumseh was born in Esquipikithiki, but definitely Puckshinwa, his father, Tecumseh's father, was born in Esquipikithiki. And I know that Tecumseh, when he was real young, came back into, I want to say, Martin Station, the last attack on Martin Station. But there was one of the last Native American raids into Kentucky was accompanied by a very young Tecumseh. So Tecumseh could have been coming back home. So you have James Harry, we don't know what happened to him, but, a lot of people, William McDaniels was fucking butchered by the Shawnee. John Filson was butchered by the Shawnee. Shawnee kidnapped Mary Ingalls and Jenny Wiley. It was the Shawnee that the British and the soon-to-become Americans were fighting at Point Pleasant against Chief Cornstalk of Muluntha. Shawnee participated in killing Daniel Boone's brother and two sons. The last three villages that were known in Kentucky was Esquipikithiki, Shenoa, and Wani, which were all Shawnee villages. And one of the biggest things, Shawnee was all over the place in the Beaver Wars, but the Cumberland River. There was a band of the Shawnee that lived on the Cumberland River. And so the Cumberland River used to be called the Shawnee River, the Shawnee or whatever. So it was the Shawnee is what they called, the Shawnee or whatever. That's what they used to call them back then, but it was the same tribe, and it was on the Cumberland River. It's called the Shawnee River until it was changed. So we don't call it by its original maiden name of Shawnee. We call it the Cumberland River. And it was named after the Duke of Cumberland, who was a butcher. He killed lots of fucking Scottish people, and maybe Irish people. But he was a fucking genocider. So Duke of Cumberland isn't even a good fucking guy. And so that's who it was named after, the Shawnee River. So the Cumberland River, the Cumberland Lake, these are big attractions. One of the big, a lot of tourists, a lot of people go down there and go boating and have a good time. That's it was originally called the Shawnee River. So Shawnee is intricately woven into the fabric of Kentucky. Here in Breckinridge County, there's Green River Indians. They even had clay floors, burnt clay floors, which indicates permanent settlements. And you don't know what they were, but the fact that William McDaniels was killed by the Shawnee, you know Shawnee was around here. So, I mean, if the Shawnee were the original, you know, the Green River Indians, the archaic Indians, the Hopewell, and, you know, all that, the Fort Ancient, and all that culture, if those were the Shawnee Indians, they're all over the fucking place. And Kentucky was Shawnee, probably the home of the Shawnee, but it was the headquarters. It was Shawnee Central. You know, so that's a little bit about Calloway County, and a little bit tied into that's who old Dick Calloway, right? That old fucking fart, that old prick, old Dick C. And D.B. founded Boonesboro together. So old Dick C. founded Boonesboro, rescued his daughters, put Boone on trial for being a British treasonous prick, which eventually Boone was acquitted for, so he wasn't convicted of. And then eventually his head was chopped off by the Shawnee. So that's who Calloway County is named after. I don't even know if he ever went to Calloway County. Compared to, let's say, Gallatin County. Gallatin County is named after Albert Gallatin, a Swiss Secretary of State. He's actually a really smart, cool guy, but kind of looks weird, and I don't relate to him that much, even though I do have a Damasco, you know, connection. Austrian, he was Austrian, a Swiss, I don't know, Austrian is different than Swiss. Anyways, that doesn't matter. Albert Gallatin just doesn't inspire me, whereas Richard Calloway, even if he was never in Calloway County, he was in Kentucky. One of the, you know, Boonesboro was the second successful settlement here. And so he was, you know, very important figure in Kentucky. So I guarantee you that anybody who lives in Calloway County knows the story of old Dick Calloway, of who their namesake is. Whereas I cannot say the same for Gallatin. And there's 120 counties. So there's you know, we can name, I don't know, don't name yourself after fucking Hitler, right? Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, these are good names. Hitler, that's a bad name. Richard Calloway is neither. He was just a frontiersman, a complicated, compromised, slave-owning dickhead. But he, you know, ushered in the civilization that we see today. And Calloway County is a beautiful county today. So he helped to bring, I don't know directly into Calloway County, but into Kentucky. So he helped bring, I guess, white culture into Kentucky, and it seems to be working, right? There's running water, and there's businesses, and there's hustle and bustle, and it seems to be working. There's a university. You know, Calloway County's got a university. So, anyways, that's it for now, Calloway County. And we'll come back to some more news pieces. Y'all caught a fugitive and some other things. There's actually some good media that comes out of Calloway County too, so you can keep in touch. If you ever, you know, was to leave home to go to college and come back, you can still see what's kind of going on. There's a big guy, Tyler, Skyler, something with the Bellarmine. I don't know, a big figure, high school figure. It was big news. I'll tell you about it coming up next. So good morning, Calloway County. This is the, Calloway County is the home of Nathan Stubblefield, who invented something like the radio, used induction, did something, I don't know. I like it as science, and it's cool to, you know, I mean, Kentucky invented the radio. We were one of the first ones to push that science along. That's really exciting. That's in Calloway County. And said another thing, being the most southern county of Kentucky, Calloway is, it has, you know, a renowned scientist. So that's remarkable. That's incredible. Calloway County is the home of Murray University. Murray City, the population is 17,741. And then its micropolitan area's population is 37,000. So that's you know, that's the 22nd largest city in Kentucky. That's a metropolis. 37,000. Just to give you a comparison, Breckinridge County, it has a population of 20,000. So just in one city, in one county, has double the population. If you look at the micropolitan then of the 6th largest county. It's named for Representative John L. Murray. You can take a look at Murray, Kentucky, if you later on. Murray State University, so they have a big, renowned university, 1923, $60 million endowment. It's recognized by the U.S. News and World Report's Best Colleges as one of the top regional colleges. They have 11,000 students, so 11,000 students, and then they provide all those jobs. They're the racers. Their mascot is the Racer 1, a live thoroughbred, or Dunker. Dunker is a costume thoroughbred. So, home of the fighting racers. All right, so go racers. Not racist, but the racers, like Speed Racer. So, Murray State University. Of course, Calloway County is named after Richard Calloway, which I talked about last time. Murray Half Marathon draws record crowd. April 24, 2015, 3 days ago, the 5th annual Murray Half Marathon put on by Murray Calloway County Hospital took place Saturday. Proceeds went to the Anna Mae Owen Residential Hospice House. The turnout this year was more than ever before, with more than 750 runners from 16 states and numerous volunteers. The winner of the half marathon was Daniel Kerwa, with a time of 1 hour, 10 minutes, 56 seconds. Kerwa also won the half marathon in 2012 with a time of 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 4 seconds. The female winner was Marion. So there's a marathon that's good, right? Good for health. It just a report came out saying that Calloway County was the #1 for quality of life. So out of all places in Kentucky, it's #1 for the quality of life. So it's a little tiny, it's not a huge city. You don't get lost in the cityness. It's very much a hometown feel, and yet it has all the amenities of the city. So small town feel with all the opportunities of the big city. It's a secret. It's a secretive place, or not a secret place, but it's a good place. It's a well-kept secret. So Colonel softball falls in upset to Calloway County. So they got a good softball team. April 16th, 2015, 11 days ago. Number 18 Christian County softball team had a 3-game winning streak snapped at home Thursday night, falling 3-2 to Calloway County. So that's how badass our Calloway County softball teams are. They don't just, kick ass at home, but they'll go to your house and kick your ass there. So, and this is after they just had a 3-game winning streak. So you're getting all cocky, Christian County thinking that we know, we're the best, we're bombs, right? And then they got their asses kicked right in their own house. So, let's see, Calloway County, 8-5-1, had won 2 consecutive games over ranked opponents. The Lady Colonels beat number 5 Woodford County on Saturday and number 23 Apollo on Tuesday, but the team was never able to recover Thursday night after falling behind 3-0. Okay, that's Christian County. So they're not. This article was written, I think, for Christian County, but it has Calloway County in the title. So Calloway County's softball team's kicking ass. That's exciting stuff, right? A little historical tidbit. This is also just like McGoffin County and a whole bunch of other counties. Their courthouse was burnt to the ground. First public building built in the Jackson Purchase area was the courthouse, built in 1823 for $100, and it was originally erected at Wadesboro, Calloway County seat. 1822 to 42, where its first session of court was held. February 13th, 1823, remained in use till a new one was built in 1831. It became the county seat, and Murray became the county seat in 1843, and the log building was moved here then has been used as a residence for over a century. So November 3rd, 1822, section of Hickman County. The county was named, they took a section of Hickman County and made Calloway County, who was a Kentucky explorer and pioneer who was a friend, kind of a friend of Daniel Boone, accused him of being a traitor to the country, put him on trial, but I'm sure he forgot about that. No big deal, right? Actually, it didn't burn down. I thought I was going to say that the courthouse had burned down, but it didn't. It just was the first building built in the Jackson Purchase area, which is the Chickasaw lands in western Kentucky. The county is bordered by Marshall County in the north, Trigg County in the northeast, Stewart County, Tennessee, southeast, Henry County, Tennessee, south, Graves County in the west, and then the cities, towns, communities, Hazel, Murray. So, yeah, the first courthouse. That was important. I mean, it's good to know the news and, what happened in the past. You don't believe that? All right, fine. Okay, so Murray, Kentucky, 4/22/15, 5 days ago on Wednesday, April 22nd, 2015, at approximately 8:41 a.m., Kentucky State Police troopers and Kentucky probation and parole officers received a tip on the location of Joshua M. Colson, 22, of Murray. So he's been a fugitive since February when the Kentucky Parole Board issued a warrant for his arrest. Upon locating Colson, Colson ran away from the officers on foot. Troopers and parole officers began a foot pursuit that went through numerous city streets and neighborhoods of Murray. Colson was arrested and charged with fleeing and evading police. First degree was served with the parole board warrant. Colson was lodged in the Calloway County. Trooper Jody Cash continues his investigation. KSP was assisted by the Murray Police Department and Kentucky Parole and Probation officers. So, I don't know what he was actually charged for, like violation of parole, but what was the parole for? What was he on probation for? There's, I don't, and these stories really do sicken me because it's like, they don't say what the reason is. A guy in Muldrow had got killed and they said it was a welfare check. So they went to go check on his welfare and then you got a dead man, right? You got a dead body. So why are we having this happen? Why do we have it, when a warrant is issued out for somebody, when we have these, articles, you got to understand that that's a high intense situation. It could go really wrong for the police, right? To issue a warrant, but you're taking someone's freedom away. When you put them in jail, if they have a job or if they have any type of establishment, you're really, messing that part up. So was it a probation violation? He didn't show up, or are they being draconian? What's going on here? So, the initial, if there's a fight that's happening, I want to know what started the fight. And if someone's like, oh, we was just executing a warrant, well, what kind of warrant is this? Kentucky seems to be, is it like Ferguson? They just issue warrants to like 75% of the population. 75% of the population of Ferguson have warrants out for their arrest. Is that what we're doing here? So, if his only crime is fleeing and evading the police and, not contacting his parole, board advisor, whatever, on time, let him go. This is fucking bullshit. They did say that he was in Murray, so I don't even know where this guy is from. So, anyways, that happened, right? You have some sort of felon or something was in your all's county. Not even a felon. See, I mean, that's the assumption, right? Well, the Jews must have done something, to deserve that treatment. No, they didn't do anything. They did nothing. And so you cannot, before the public, it's like, well, we beat them up and we threw them in jail. Clearly must be guilty of something, or maybe they're not. Maybe they're being victimized even further than what they were to begin with. And now, you're sitting there saying all this shit. Well, why were you arrested? Because you guys are Nazis. Because you guys are fucking sick fucking psychos who just want to beat and hurt people. And then you pretend like you're the good people. So county officials urge residents to sign up for Code Red. Even though only one real threat for severe weather has come so far in 2015 for Calloway County and did not actually materialize, the need for being prepared remains. There's been a ton of rain. It hasn't stopped raining for like days, for like the whole month. And there's flash floods and there's lots of water things. So this Code Red has something to do with the weather. You could sign up through Calloway County. It's one way to stay ahead of the high winds, heavy rains, even tornadoes that could form during the main severe weather time from now through June is with Code Red Alert System. The system is available by accessing the Callaway government website. The Code Red access is available at the bottom of the homepage and enables residents to select the way they wish to receive alerts by telephone or online. It's proven to be a pretty effective system for the ones that have signed up for it so far. So sign up for Code Red, Callaway County. They're trying to save your life. But that is a big thing. I've been hearing lots of, people dying, people being washed away. The road, taking, just failing underneath them and them dying. So that's, you gotta be careful what happens when whenever there's a heavy amount of rain. I haven't seen nothing get washed out. I've made sure the culvert is very clear. And if you turn left, there's a bridge that gets flooded. So when it's flooding, I cannot turn left. And when it's, going across that bridge, I do, access it well. If I go really fast, can I go through it? No, don't chance it, because that's how people die. They try to go through it, they can't, and now you're washed down into the middle of nowhere, and you hit your head, and you're dead. So, you can't fight, thousands of gallons of water. You can't fight Mother Nature, so don't try it. Unless you're trying to die, unless you got death wish, right? Then go ahead, chance it. What the hell? But that's that's being in a rural area and mountainous and hilly regions. People have to, worry about things like that. That typical sort of city slickers don't have to worry about. So Murray Calloway shares success at Jimmy Harrell Relays. Last Friday in the Jimmy Harrell Relays at Murray High School, both Murray and Callaway track and field saw significant success among 8 participating schools in the event. Murray's Grace Campbell and Callaway County's Lily Lowe dueled in both the high jump and long jump. So sports, right? There's pole jumping. That's how, when you got like pole jumping, when you got like these specific things, that's a good town. I mean, they got so many things going on that, they're having to do pole vaulting and pole jumps, which is exciting. That's exciting stuff. So let's see. The Lady Colonels dropped 1 game to Callaway County. So I think I've already mentioned this, but I'm going to mention again. Okay. Christian County ranked number 18 in the latest Kentucky Softball Coaches Association Top 25 poll. Dropped a close game to visiting Callaway County in its latest outing. So here's some of the details of that game. I was mentioning it before. But the Callaway County edged the Lady Colonels 3-2 in a mid-season high school softball game on Thursday. The win allowed Callaway County to improve 4-3. Christian County dropped to 8-5-1 with the loss. So they won 8, lost 5, tied 1. Kylie Kelso contributed 2 hits, and Danielle Potts drove in 2 runs as Callaway County prevailed in the non-district prep softball battle. The Lakers scored first and never trailed. Callaway County owned a 3-0 lead before Christian County arrived on the scoreboard. So Lakers. So Murray State University is the Racers, but I guess Callaway County is the Lakers. And I don't even know what a Laker is. Is that a person who lakes? One who ponds? The great ponders? Now it sounds like ponderers. So anyways, the Lakers. I'm going to have something to look up later on. What is a Laker? So Callaway County pitcher Shelby Bella notched the win. Christian County pitcher Alexis Sumner took the loss. The Lady Colonels lost despite banging out 10 hits. Emmy Blaine and Hallie Ray Hendricks each had 2 singles and a double for the Lady Colonels. Jenna Lynn Kelly had a double and a single, and Brooke Whipple and Lacey Mohan each had a single for the Christian County Club. The Christian County and Callaway softball teams aren't scheduled to meet again this season. First region or softball records. McCracken County is 14-3. Graves County, so McCracken is McCracken. They are McCracken up a storm. 14-3. That's a lot of wins and very few losses. Graves County is 9-5. Paducah Tillman 9-5. Carlisle County 8-12, a losing record. Murray 7-4 winning. Christian Fellowship winning 7-4. Ballard Memorial losing 7-10. Marshall County 6-3 winning. Hickman County 5-9 losing. Calloway County 4-3 winning. St. Mary 2-6 losses losing. Mayfield 1-5 losses losing. Fulton County 0-5 losses losing. And Fulton City. So Maysville, Fulton County, you're getting your asses beat. Ballard Memorial, you have more losses than wins, but it's not like the 0 wins of Fulton County. Fulton County is my advice actually for Calloway County, don't play anymore. You know, if you want to pad your record, play Fulton County so you can get some wins. But if you want to get better, you want to play teams that are better than you. So play your McCracken counties and your Graves County, your Paducah, Tillman. I think it's Tillman. There's a GH, Tilgh. So, you know, Tilgahiman, the Tilgahiman. Marshall County has a winning record, and Calloway County has a winning record. So, keep on, you know, good job, Lakers. Keep fighting, Lakers. Keep fighting. Yeah. So, big news for actually a local, I think. This is the local. Somebody got picked up by Bellarmine. Bellarmine is a Class 2 NCAA championship tournament. Yeah, okay. So Skylar Hunter of Callaway County High School has actually been chosen to play for Bellarmine University's men's basketball, which isn't Division I. It's not, you know, big March Madness, but it is Division II, and Bellarmine University has been pretty competitive in the District 2. You know, amongst themselves. So Scott Davenport of Bellarmine University has signed Skylar Hunter. So I'm sure this is big news for Callaway County. Skylar Hunter of Callaway County High School to National Letter of Intent. The 6'7", 185-pound forward is the third high schooler to sign with the Knights. Bellarmine University Knights. Go Knights. I guess the I don't know, the Knights of Labor, the Teutonic Knights. It's not bad, but it's sort of, you know, medieval, monarchical, old school. And they joined Daniel Ramser of Trinity and Adam Eberhard of Reeds Memorial in Evansville, Indiana. Hunter averaged 11.3 points to 7.8 rebounds this past season for Callaway County, which was 30-4 in advance for the quarter finals of the Sweet 16. He also shot 46% from the field, including making 82 of 189 three-pointers. So he takes a lot of shots. I don't know, 43.4%. Is that a good percentage? Evidently, I'm thrilled to have such a fine young man on and off the floor join our basketball family. That's Scott Davenport with exclamation points. Yay! He has a tremendous upside. He comes out of a great program that won at a high level. Skylar Hunter said that he saw how they played. They was real intense on the floor, and he wanted to be a part of it. So, yeah, congratulations, Skylar Hunter of Callaway County High School. Hopefully, Bellarmine, you will either, you know, get to the professionals, make some money doing the basketball thing, or maybe you'll get an education and actually go back and become judge executive of Callaway County and make $100,000, right? $100,000. So moving on, right on along, election board covers a variety of matters in the meeting. John Wright, from preparations for the upcoming May primaries to certifying voting machines, the Callaway County Board of Elections covered a lot of areas Friday. First, Callaway County Clerk Antonia Faulkner, who also serves as chairperson of the board, wanted the public to know that absentee voting in the upcoming primary elections opens at 8 a.m. May 1st in her office. On the second floor of Callaway County Courthouse, voting hours will be 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Mondays through Fridays through May 18th. So that's important to know. You can go vote. I think early voting, we don't do early voting in Kentucky, but I think it's a really good idea because we don't have the day off. So you can prepare, vote a week in advance, know that your vote is counted, and then still do your thing. Everybody, election day should be a holiday. I mean, we're sitting there celebrating fucking Christopher Columbus, right? Genocidal maniac, and we get a day off for that. But we don't get a day off for election day. I mean, shouldn't election day in a democracy be like, I want to say sacrosanct? Should it be sacred? Shouldn't it be sacred? First Calloway County Clerk. I already mentioned that. So Faulkner also said she's mailed 67 ballots for voters unable to vote in person due to medical or other issues who will not be available to vote on May 19th when voters throughout Kentucky go to the polls to determine nominees for statewide constitutional offices for both the Democratic and Republican parties. This will include governor. Faulkner said the mandatory election school for Calloway County precinct workers is scheduled 5:30 p.m. May 7th at the George Weeks Community Center. Jeremy Harmon of the Harp firm of Lexington will officiate that activity. Mandatory election school for the precinct workers. Oh, okay. So they have to go back to church, right? Take me to church. Also discussed were the results of an examination into the handicap accessibility of 4 precincts in the county. Faulkner said 3 of the 4 polling places were able to be examined, and the 4th will be visited at a later date. But before the primaries, Faulkner said 2 ideas that developed were, first, to install button signals at the entrances of the precincts that will activate a signal inside the polling place to alert a worker that someone at the door is in need of assistance. The second idea is to place a carpet/rug or some other item near the entrance to enable easier travel for voters using wheelchairs and other devices on gravel parking lots. They're good, common sense ideas. Actually, I don't mind that this isn't bad to read. It's not, sensationally sexy, but that's okay. Just days after the Calloway County Fiscal Court approved a pay raise from $100 to $125 for county poll workers, Calloway County Judge Executive Larry Elkins visited Friday's meeting to encourage the board to find ways to make elections less expensive. Elkins voted against the measure in Tuesday's meeting, but reiterated his previous statements that he is not against poll workers receiving a bump in pay. If you can make this work, I'll push for our workers to be at the top of the list for pay, Elkins said, referring to how Tuesday's 3-2 vote sent Calloway from last among the 11 westernmost counties in Kentucky to 4th. He said he hopes something that could be done to lower the cost of programming machines from $40,000 just to work with us to lower the cost. He requested, in response, Bill Cohn, Republican Party representative of the board, produced an idea to perhaps drop the number of polling places in the county, which would also lower the number of machines needed, thereby perhaps lowering their overall cost. So that's the, that was the solution, basically, was to just get rid of the election polling places, right? Just get rid of, there's less, only have one, I don't know. You have to get out the people, there's got to be plenty of polling places for people to get out and go vote, and people need to know where they vote. The Allison Grimes has done a good job when it comes to the, elections. I know where to go vote, and I have no problems when I go vote in Hudson and at the Masonic Lodge. And so the Masonic Lodge in Hudson is where I go vote. So I'm going to take a break right now, but that's 25 minutes all about Calloway County, some new stuff, some historic stuff. Right, there's elections. They're trying to save some money when it comes to the elections, and fun times. There's a couple more things coming up, and I'm also going to talk about McGoffin County, which had a shooting. A cop had murdered somebody in McGoffin County, and again, the stories doesn't make any sense. It doesn't check out so far. So this could be another, this is just, people keep on dying at the hands of people that are supposed to protect them. And if you're not serving and protecting us, who the fuck are you serving and protecting? And if they're policing us, who's policing them? Is there anybody over their shoulders? Do they have to abide by the rule of law? Are they allowed to be vigilante, murderers, and they hide behind their badges? Is that what's going on right now? And if so, that shit needs to stop. This needs to be a civilized democratic republic, and everybody abides by the rule of law. You murder somebody, you rob, you rape, you steal, you get punished. I don't give a fuck if you're a jailer. No, you can't rape jailers. Stop your fucking raping. Stop your attacking and assaulting police officers. You can't, if there's a situation, do it, but don't escalate situations. What the fuck are you doing? When has it ever been made? It's never been Mayberry. I have nostalgic. Remember the good old days? No, there never was Mayberry. It never had happened. The good old days was when I sat and watched TV and said, wow, Look at this nice Hollywood version of what small towns should be like. Calloway Canoes to Dravenville beats Marshall County 6-3. So the canoe teams, we're going to learn about the canoe teams coming up. And there's baseball teams, the Lakers. 11 men on base. Okay, we'll come back.